You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast at thisisoutcry.com. Hello, everybody.
Oh my God.
This is Joaquin,
I'm still Jay.
and this is the Overflow Podcast at thisisoutcry.com.
Where is that hello everybody from?
I have no idea. I'm sure I took it from somewhere. Was it The Shining?
Is it? No. It's not The Shining. But anyway, let's keep going. Keep it moving.
So yeah, listen. So great. Listen, we're excited to be here today. I'm all over the place. I've had like 3 cups of coffee. We're excited to be here today. A lot of stuff popping. We have a very special guest that we are going to be talking with today to continue our series on God and culture. His name is...
You'll find out after the music.
Ah, suckers. Gotcha. So we have our guest. Couple of things before we go to the song and we go into the conversation that we're going to have with our friend, the artist. Number one.
He is an artist formerly known as, but
we'll discuss that.
We'll let him discuss that.
We'll let Prince tell us about that.
The biggest news.
Biggest news, top of the headlines on the ticker. That's what his ticker sounds like.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Me and Jay, or Jay and I, sorry Magda, Jay and I are gonna go watch Wonder Woman
on Wednesday.
Yeah, suckers.
So this is the moment that we're gonna allow you to hate.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the moment where we can say, yeah, we got haters.
Yeah, we got haters. Hate on us. Hate on us. We got haters. I mean,
and we'll write a song celebrating it.
We already got a comment on Instagram talking about, oh, I hate you right now.
Yes. So we're gonna go watch it a full week
in a few days
before it actually drops. Which, it's really awesome because I'm going to Florida on June 2nd. So I was already like scheming, like, okay, we're in Florida. Am I gonna go watch it? Because like I was gonna be like, yo, Pops, I'm out. I gotta go
and I took care of that for you.
I gotta go watch Wonder Woman. And Jay hooked it up. This is how you know Jay's a good friend. I went and watched Guardians of the Galaxy and didn't let him know until after I saw it.
Like a jerk.
And I said, "Hey man, the movie was dope." And he said, "Why didn't you tell me?"
What? You saw it?
So fortunately, Jay is such a good friend that when he sent me the text message saying, "Guess what we're gonna go watch," he didn't rub it in my face.
Well, to be honest,
Jay's a good Christian. He forgave.
I can't talk about it if I'm not gonna be about it. To be honest, of course, there's no one else. Wait, I gotta lower my voice. There's no one else.
We can't let Magna know.
There's no one else I would want to see it with. But then I also it's awesome. It's perfect for the podcast.
Yes. So next week we're not talking about God and culture. We're not finishing that.
We're
We're
going to talk about Wonder Woman. We're gonna right. Don't listen to the podcast next week because we're going to tell you everything about the movie.
Like
we're going to spoil it for everybody.
Scene by scene.
Right? If you hate us for watching it a week earlier, you're going to really hate us for telling everything.
Wonder Woman 1.
But
that's how you know.
Quick thing about the Wonder Woman movie, I just told you that critics have seen it already, and they say that it's the best DC movie ever.
Nice.
For now.
Nice. Yes.
Right. We all know that DC has had really bad luck with the critics.
Right. That's what I'm about to say. I was like,
right?
I mean, if she gets a 40%, she'll be higher than
all of them.
Than BVS or Suicide Squad.
Or Man of Steel. So, but they say that it's the best DC movie. So
nice. I'm excited.
That's dope.
I don't even care. Well, me and Jay, we're biased anyway. So
yeah, we're biased.
We loved Man of Steel. We loved
BVS. We love Suicide
Squad, and we'll love Wonder Woman because now me not being married, I can say this because I have a crush on Gal Gadot.
I'm married and I have a crush on that Gal Gadot.
So there we go.
But I
Magda, go back upstairs.
I repent.
Don't hit Jay yet.
I repent.
Wait till I'm out the door. No, Magda's not here.
But let's get in.
Let's get in. So right before we get into the song that Jay's going to introduce for us, hey, just want to remind you guys, Legacy Church, if you're in the Atlanta area, love to have you guys come visit us. We are legacyatl.com. Check it out. All the information is there. Super excited. Next week, we're going to have a very, 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 very good friend who's going to join us to close out God and Culture series.
Yes.
And hey, as always, thank you for joining us in this crazy madcap world that we're in. I have no idea what that goes. Yep. Oh, and I do want to make one complaint.
You sound super old.
I do, right? I do want to make one complaint. I showed your son Popeye, the Bean, the youngest, the 2-year-old, and he just wasn't very impressed with it. Yeah, kind of hurt my feelings.
Popeye's racist, a racist cartoon. Well, not the first episode. After the episode, he looked at me and he goes, "Dinosaurs?" I'm like, all right. So I looked up dinosaurs. That's right. Put on some dinosaurs for that boy.
So that's
you should have went with Ninja Turtles.
I wanted to show him Batman the animated series, but anyway.
Yeah. No, not yet. But the song for this week, the feature song this week, the song hasn't even dropped yet, right? This is like a real insider thing. The song actually it drops the same day that the podcast comes out, right? But I've heard it, we've seen the video to it. Watch the video. The video drops actually, not the song. Yeah. And it'll be the
fun song,
the funnest. I'm saying that. I'm putting it.
Yes.
The funnest song that you'll hear all summer. Check it out right now. Uzutrap on the Overflow Podcast.
Uzuhan.
Hey.
Neon.
Hey, my bad.
I'm tired of retreating.
No.
All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. Hey, I don't know what you're saying, though.
Say what?
Would I go? I don't know what you're saying, though.
Say what?
Would I go? All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense.
Hey, I don't know what you're saying, though. Don't you know? Yeah. Came in 88 with a dream, oh so bright-eyed. They knew right away, sink or swim, there's no lifelines. Cutting their teeth on the move, nobody's filling these shoes. Balling on a budget at the Golden Arches, super size number 2, cash. Way that the world ain't budging, gotta make a power move. Deep in the darkest dungeons, I'm digging up my own route. Hands on the plow, keep my head down, sweat on my brow, don't make a sound. Pay my dues now. This is the pride of a man. Step in the ground, I'm counting my blessings, aggressively pushing the boundaries off of my family. Came to this land, a dream in my hand. All of that changed when life decided to switch on my plans. Yeah, tell me now, how did we get so low? Yeah, tell me now, how did we get so bruised? Yeah.
Tell me now.
How could they be so rude? Swear I'ma lose my cool. I won't be made as a fool now.
Neon.
Mia.
Ain't my bad.
I'm tired of retreating.
Don't retreat it.
All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. Ay, I don't know what you're saying, though.
Say what?
Would I go? I don't know what you're saying, though.
Say what?
Would I go? All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense.
Ay, I don't know what you're saying, though. Ching chang chong. I keep it trilly. Some of you sounded real silly. Yeah, all of you, hoo, hi. Got me like, really? I'm guessing it's my mistake for thinking that people can do better. Knew better?
You better chill.
I refuse to be your Jet. I refuse to be your Jackie Chan. Keep on yapping off like that. Keep on yapping all that jazz. A man can only take so much when you keep on stopping jumping on his back. I'm not a ninja. Shing. Hey, I don't do kung fu.
Kung fu.
But if you're pushing me over the edge, might see these knuckles do some crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Get you feeling like a ladder. Introduce you to a whole new world. Go ahead and see what happens, bud. I'm not the violent type. Real out cause I'm not the silent type. I don't fit the 9 to 5. Don't try to put me in a category. I'm that Kogi Jordy meeting full-time rapper that your papa hates and gets mama worried. Not your ordinary doctor, lawyer, and accountant. You know I'm an allegory. Maybe more like a unicorn. Life of faith, I trust you, Lord. Monochrome, I do adore. Distressed under my uniform. Let's go.
Mia, Mia.
I'm tired of retreating.
Don't retreat it.
All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. I don't know what you're saying, though.
Say what?
What I want, I don't know what you're saying, though.
Say what?
What I want, all that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense.
I don't know what you're saying, though. I don't know what you're saying, though.
Yo, that was Uzutrap about my boy Jay. What's his name?
Oh, I thought you were asking. I
I'm
thought you were
guessing Jay.
saying it was me.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
say
me.
it. That's not this Jay. No, this is Jahan. He is on the line right now. Say hi to everybody that's listening.
What up? Hello. Thanks for having me, y'all. Appreciate this.
Oh, he's got the y'all.
Thank you. Right?
Yeah.
Boy from Maryland talking with
the
the y'all
South.
already.
Yo, you're part of the
That's
South
right.
now, brother.
No, we Northerners got to stay strong. But anyway, Jay, man, thank you for accepting the invite and getting on with us and doing this show with us.
Yeah, man. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, no, we are super duper excited to talk to you because I'll say you're one of our favorite peoples. I think that's a fair.
Both personally and musically.
Personally, musically, and you brought us kangaroo jerky. Well, you brought Jay kangaroo jerky. I ate half of it. So.
And I got into trouble on social media.
Oh, man.
I got into
I'm
trouble
glad
on
you guys
social
liked it.
media.
Straight from Australia.
Dude,
Straight from Australia,
I got
man.
so many like angry tweets about the kangaroo jerky. I got sent links about how it's illegal or it's against the law, the kangaroo population, and my response was,
Oh, man.
I don't know anything about that. All I know is that it was delicious.
That's funny.
All I know is I want to try some koala jerky next.
No, that's
Oh,
horrible.
man.
That's basically rat jerky.
Well, same diff. Anyway, so all right, so Jahan, so I heard
No, he's for right now he's Prince.
he's Prince. So okay, so we're gonna call you Prince.
Okay.
Formerly known as.
Formerly known as. There you go.
So formerly known as. I heard a rumor. And it came from Jay. So we don't want people to think we're out here just gossiping. But I heard a rumor. Jay called me up and he goes, "Oh my gosh, have I got some juicy gossip for you?"
Oh yeah, but that wasn't about Jay, huh?
And then I was like, "What?" I'm like trying to build up a story here, Jay. You're really ruining it.
No, because I did call you and say that this morning.
And he said the artist formerly known as is changing his name.
Well, he's the artist formerly known as Jahan.
Jahan, yes,
Right.
is changing his name. What's all that about, sir?
Right. So I am changing it because I felt like a rebranding was the best option for me as a solo artist. So I am a part of a group called AMP, and Jahan is so closely tied with AMP. I just felt like, especially with the new music coming out, the new places that I hope that this new brand will allow me to take me to those places. I just felt like it was the right move. I'm not migrating any of my old stuff, so people who know me as Jahan will find the old stuff, and I will perform all the old stuff at the Uzuhan concerts. So my new name is Uzuhan, and I'm in transition to like letting the public know. So there's going to be a lot of cool little things that happen. It's going to be confusing for a good probably like the rest of the year. So I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible that I'm having a name change.
So what does Uzuhan mean? What's with
So
the Uzu? 'Cause
Uzuhan,
Uzu makes me think of like juice or something,
It makes me think of Uzi,
or like
like a
a tea.
yeah,
like a 1980s
right.
preferred weapon of the bad guys.
No, like tea, like oolong tea. We
Yeah.
have oolong boba, or we have Uzu boba.
Uzuhan
Yeah.
boba.
Oh man. Well, Uzuhan, it's spelled Uzu.
He's like, oh,
Uh,
you guys are jerks.
It's yeah. It's a Korean word that I romanized, and that Korean word means excellence. So I just felt like the branding, the word, how it sounds is just very iconic to me, and just represents, just me not being satisfied with good enough and pursuing excellence in all that I do. So it's pretty straightforward.
No, that is awesome. Okay, cool. So now earlier you told us, so now you've changed all your social media stuff. So now is it all under Uzuhan?
Yes.
Uzuhan Instagram,
Music.
Uzuhan Music.
Yeah.
And that's all the same for Instagram, Twitter,
Hmm.
Facebook.
Fable.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything.
Everything. All right. Well, that's awesome. So, so you're here in Atlanta. You're here in Atlanta with us. How has it? How is Atlanta? How has it been? Are you finally kind of getting your
bearings.
your bearings down here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, since last time even we all hung out, I mean, I was super new to the area, but since having been here for almost 2 years now, I feel like I've been able to build an artist community, a community of people, even at like my church, just like people in the area, in the neighborhood. I just feel like I'm more a part of the community, the greater Atlanta area. So because of that, and because of those connections, I feel like I've been able to accomplish more. So it's been quite encouraging, because I have people who are just like me, pursuing creative endeavors, who I receive a lot of encouragement and empowerment from. So it's been awesome.
That's good, because I remember the conversation before having met you. I remember having the conversation with Chung.
Right.
I think it was before you moved down, actually, and he was telling me, and I was like, oh well, whatever I can do to help and connect him, and just throw him in there, and so that you won't feel like alone.
Right.
Having been new, because that was me when I first moved down from New York. I had like nobody. Like nobody. Nobody.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got that. So it's good to hear. And then I've seen it. I mean, we've had you here. I consider you a brother from another mother.
Yeah. You know it.
So it's good. It's good to see, like when I stalk. when I stalk. No, because like I always say, like, we got to see if Jay is in town. Like, oh, because Magda would be like, hey, I haven't heard anything about Jaehan lately. Like, invite him over. So, well, we got to see if he's in town, because like the dude's always traveling. So, like, these guys are like worldwide, right? So
yeah.
So that's why, like, we had lunch today. Like, it was like awesome. It was awesome. Hey, oh, what? Yeah, you're here. You want? Yeah, let's do it. Come on. I think, I was gone. Like, that was like a 2-hour lunch.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
A 2-hour lunch, and I walked into work like nothing. which is fine.
It was lovely.
Which is fine, because I basically just got home. But anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So we played your new song, Uzutrap.
Right.
Thank you for that that first drop, right? Like the exclusivity. I know that the video drops tomorrow.
Right.
Right. Talk to us about that song.
Yes, sir.
What's the deal behind that song? Because the song is, like I told you this afternoon, the song it's a really dope song. It's probably like your dopest song yet. It's super. It's because this is the thing about I think we've played your music here before on the podcast, and
Right.
I told you this. I told you this afternoon, and I'm sure I told you this before. Like, one of the main things that we like about you and your style of music is that it's real chill, right? It's like real like mellow music. It's like it's dope. It's just dope music to just chill to, right? And you don't compromise anything, faith wise or lyrically, right? You're still a beast lyrically, but like the music is just like it's just real chill music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we love that.
Man.
But this song right here, like it's super fun. Right? It's just like a fun song to just like always play and bop and dance to. It's like it's really dope.
Yes.
So talk to us, Uzuhan. Oh, great Uzuhan. Tell us about the Uzutrap.
So Uzutrap. I mean, the reason why I named it that was because I just kind of wanted to, like, if I were to create my own blend of trap music, I mean, this is my take on it. I mean, it's not the traditional trap style.
And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
From the depths of my soul, I thank you for that.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, I just wanted to keep something bouncy. I just wanted to keep the bounce theory that the trap music that hip hop does so well, and I wanted to incorporate that into this song. And I mean, it's just pretty much like a song it's like an homage to first generation immigrant parents who've just dealt with lots of ignorance growing up or working in America. So that's kind of like the reason why I made the song, just kind of to give them a voice.
All right, because you, like us, because people don't really, they don't really like put these things together, but you like us, and when we had Sam, we talked about this, that we're bicultural.
Right.
We're bicultural, so it's different because we are both, like you're both American and Korean, right? It's like us,
yes.
we're both American and Puerto Rican. So there are,
right.
We have both cultures, and then we have our own culture, the whole bicultural thing, the merging and the melding of the two that we have to deal with on a daily basis on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
almost three sides.
Almost three.
Right.
So Jay, one of the things that, or Jaehan, since I got two J's here, so so one of the reasons we also wanted you, and I'm sure, I don't know if Jay told you today, I'm sure he told you when you guys had lunches, we've been doing this, we've been doing this series, God versus culture, or God and culture, and one of the reasons that we decided to have this this topic was because as kind of fans of Christian music, as fans of Christian hip hop, one of the things that we always see, and it appears, is that a lot of times artists seem to want to compromise faith so they can get popular, so they can get that mainstream push, or they get really offended and really defensive in a way if they get called a Christian rapper or Christian singer, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we've had a DJ, we've had a business guy, and now we have an artist, because we want to kind of have a dialogue with you, just about maybe from your perspective, and so maybe we can have a little back and forth on how do we navigate this idea of how do we navigate the fact that we're Christians, right? We're believers.
Yeah.
And God in Scripture calls us to live a certain way.
Right.
But yet we don't live in a or if we're doing it right, I guess we don't live in just a Christian
Christian
segregated area. We do have to come in contact with the culture at large, the worldly culture, secular culture, however you want to, whatever tag somebody wants to put on it. So that's kind of one of the things we want to we just kind of want to unpack that and kind of see maybe from your perspective, and because from what we've noticed, you seem to kind of touch on both worlds a bit. How do you navigate that? How do we navigate that? How can we encourage others to navigate the culture without compromising their faith.
Their faith. Well, before you answer that, we've broken this down to three different things, like God in culture, God of culture, and with you, we want to talk about God versus culture or God against culture, right? Because a lot of, my understanding, right, or my interpretation of artists that say, well, I'm not a Christian rapper, right? You don't call, you're a graphic designer. You don't say you're a Christian graphic designer, but I actually say yes. Yes,
Sure.
I am. Yes, I am. That's why
Okay.
I won't design like things that will go against my faith, right? Like if Playboy asked me to design a layout for their magazine, I'm going to say no, right? Because
Right. Gotcha.
my faith in God comes before everything, right? So, but that's me, and you know that I deal with a lot of artists sometimes, and a lot of them say, well, we're artists. Well, I'm an artist, but I don't want to be known as a Christian artist. I talk about life and love and general things, right? So that to me is almost like, it's like a separation thing, right? It's like an isolation thing. Like you want the benefits of God in the kingdom, right? But just you don't want to be seen or looked upon through that filter or through that lens, right? So with the whole labeling and all that, like how do you navigate that?
Wow. There's so many nuances to that. But I think so like let me try to sort my thoughts. So I can give some stories like in Korea, me and my crew, we go to Korea very often, and there we are just considered by the industry as pop or hip hop. Like our music is categorized according to the sound. Granted, they don't really understand what we say, so maybe that's why they don't label us as Christian. But so what I've noticed is like, even though at our shows and the music that what am I trying to say? More than just what's in the content. I mean, when just people see us, how we live, how we, the things that we value, things that we choose to talk about, how we choose to encourage each other, the culture that we bring, I've noticed seems to speak to people a lot. So this is kind of how. Let me try to make it simpler. So as an artist, I always try to figure out where's the best way I can use my time, or where do I feel like God is calling me to put my efforts towards. And I've found in America and in Korea, wherever I go, being an artist, being a creative, I found that, my ministry often isn't necessarily with the people that listen to my music. It's the people that I come in contact with. That's why I commented on like people in the industry who, know us as Christians, being impacted by us. Like that's where I see, kind of my efforts or my strategy. I kind of put my efforts towards that. I don't know if that really answers totally what you're trying to say, because there's so many nuances, I guess, that I'd like. Right. Could you ask a more specific question? Maybe I'll be more useful.
Okay, so no, that's a very good.
That's actually a really good answer.
Very good jump off, because, so what I'm hearing, and then tell me if I heard you correctly. What I'm hearing is that,
right.
You guys, you guys are the way you conduct yourself. So there's always the stage, right? There's always the stage persona, and then there's off the stage persona. And we have found, and I'm sure you've run into this. I know me and Jay have run into this, where the stage persona is like a really cool person, but then the off the stage persona is someone.
It's so cool.
It's someone that you're like, wait a minute. Maybe you need to listen to the Jesus stuff you were saying on stage and apply it a little more off stage, right? Kind of, because it's you go from, we gotta be humble, thank you Lord, to just very arrogant. So honestly, as I'm listening to you, so what I'm hearing is like, you want, it seems like you just want to make sure that however you're conducting yourself, or however you're conducting your business and your relationships off the stage, it seems that you're very aware of reflecting Christ in
Christ-like values, yes,
and Christ-like values. Very good, yes. Because if the industry people know you as Christians, and they're like, oh yeah, we know these guys are Christians. You see, making that statement, that says a lot about how you conduct yourself off the stage. And honestly, to me, that's like, that just made me smile because ultimately that's where we make our most impact. You make your most impact off the stage. You remember how the artist treated you. You don't remember necessarily how good his show was, 5 years later.
Right.
So that's that's a very interesting. That's something we hadn't even touched on a lot. Is that So, are you that aware of? When you're dealing with people, is it just something that this is just how you are, or do you sometimes find yourself going, I got to remember that I'm a Christian, so I got to maybe navigate things a little differently, or is that just something you put into practice just over the years, and now it's just second nature, and how you treat others, how you conduct your business, as a believer?
Gotcha. Well, I guess it's how I speak to a mostly unbelieving crowd will be kind of similar to how I speak to a Christian crowd, because what I try to do is I just try to be clear with what I mean. Like I won't rely on, quote, Christianese and expect the crowd to be able to process and understand and define the words the same way that I define it. So
right.
Like I just speak to people as if they don't really know like what I mean. I'm not saying people are dumb. It's just I think it's better to be clear and to use plain language in a way that anybody can understand. Because then if you're able to do that, that means you actually understand the gospel. You understand God's purpose for this world. So I mean, in terms of what I say on a stage, or when I talk to people, I mean, it's generally will be the same thing. Now, if it's a believer, if they're a believer, I can kind of go more in depth and they can resonate with what I say. Another thing I actually have to remember, is like which culture I'm operating in. Because in American culture, like public consumption of alcohol, even with like church members or like pastors, it's chill. You can have tattoos and all this stuff. It's really cool. It's fine. It doesn't, there's no like plague on your judgment. I'm sorry, plague on your, there's no nobody really views you that less, or doesn't discredit you as much as compared to like a more conservative culture such as Korea. I mean, maybe Puerto Ricans experience similar things in the Puerto Rican church. Like for when I'm at a Korean church, like especially in Korea, I am very mindful about like not touching alcohol, not because I personally think it's wrong, but because I know in that context, because I want to win people over in that context, because I know that there's greater freedom than just legalistic actions. I'm trying to get people just past behavior modification, but in order for them to really believe me, I mean, they have to know that I understand their culture, and that I respect it, and I can operate in that, I'm not controlled by alcohol, whatever. They're just using that as an example. So, I mean, I do navigate, and I have to remember that being a Christian, there are certain things I have to remember, keep in mind in like the culture I'm in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here in the States, it's funny because, in the South, the drinking, as the example, the drinking, it's changed a lot from when I was growing up. You didn't, if you were, especially growing up Baptist, you don't drink, right? That's not a thing a good Baptist does. And even in the Spanish church, Spanish culture in general.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You don't do that at all.
You don't do that at all.
That's like when I've been to Nicaragua on mission trips, I would have to remind some of the younger guys, like, look, fellas, like I understand you guys like to have a beer, but no can do here, because. And they were like, well, why not? There's nothing wrong with it. And it's like, well, you don't think there's something wrong with it. But the culture, that culture does not agree with it. As a believer, they see it as a worldly thing. You leave all that behind. so you don't want to participate in that. So it's funny, so we totally understand it. But that's great. See that, that shows wisdom, right? When you're able to when you're able to say, okay, I understand the context. I mean, me, even like Jay and I, whenever we've done things in Spanish churches, sometimes, we have to go, okay, we're going to Spanish church, so Jay has to shave his face because they won't listen to him.
Oh my God, you just stay stuck on that, huh?
That's a joke. That's a great story. We'll have to share it sometime, maybe next week.
I think we have shared it with him.
Well, we'll always share it. Or maybe you gotta dress up a little nicer, or whatever it is.
Sure.
So, okay. So, you got anything? What else, Jay? What other question you got for him?
Well, the thing is this, right? Because I love, dude, that you're bringing in like both aspects, like the contrast between American and Korean culture, and then we could bring in the Spanish culture. But the thing is this, right? You as an artist, whether you want to own up to it or not, you've got a lot of eyes on you, right? And probably doubly so, because you've got like the American kids that come across your music and become fans, and then the Korean kids that also come across your music and become fans, but like culturally it's different, right? Because American kids, they're all, they get taught, pursue your dreams, you want to be a singer, go ahead, be a singer, whatever. Like I have Junie. I have Junie sleeping upstairs, right? Who wants to become a producer. He wants to make music, right?
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
You think that's cool. As a dad, I'm like, no, dude, plan A was you were going to become a video game designer / developer. That's money, right? That's money, right? Right? Now you're coming to me with all this. You want to produce music and make music and beats, and John Bellion is somebody that inspires you or whatever. No. No. Like, these people starve before like the small percentage of them actually make it. And then that turned into what, you don't think I'm going to make it? Because I know I'm going to make it. It's like, no, that's not the conversation, right? But
yes, I don't think you're going to make it.
but I'm, I support him 100%. I'm behind him.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. He has 2 guitars in the room. Right. Right. I'm about to get him an Axiom keyboard so he can work on drums. The whole drum kit and music and whatever. Like, he's really into this. So I'm gonna support it. Right. But we know that, like, my parents, like my dad, when I told him I wanted to become an artist and designer and whatever, like, he hated it. He was completely against it. We'll fight all the time. No, you're going to become a teacher or you're going to become a chef, because my mom was a teacher and he was a chef. So a teacher or a chef, people need to learn, and people are always hungry. You always eat something that's secure. So, things like that. And I'm pretty sure that for you, it's the same thing, right? As far as the Korean upbringing, it's not like, okay, yes, pursue the arts, right? So, and then when you add Jesus to that, right? When you add Jesus to that, then it's a whole different slew of things and issues, right? Because not only is pursue Jesus, but then pursue Jesus and pursue your dreams of an artist. Pursue your dreams of a singer, a rapper, or whatever it is, right? And so it's doubly tough, because not only let's be honest, right? Because that's what John 17:14 is. We're in this world, but not of it. So the things that we communicate, right, through our music, it's not things that are of this world. So they're not like really 100% relatable, right? So, unless you're singing to another believer. And in this whole idea of God versus culture, like I hate bringing them up, but like the best example of that is Westboro Baptist Church, right? Who feel that they have to hate on everything that is against God and Jesus and the Bible, which is, their actions and their words show that very apparent that they don't read scripture, they don't study scripture or spend time with Jesus, right? I'm waiting for you to say something, Quinito.
No, I was say that they do. It's just all Old Testament stuff.
Right? So you, Uzuhan, right? I have to get used to calling you by your new artist name. You, right? How do you deal with all of those aspects, right? Because you have people looking up to you. And then you've got kids who look up to you. They become fans, and like maybe some of them want to be like you and do what you do. And then if they're little Christian Korean kids, then they see, look, right? Uzuhan, he loves the Lord and he's awesome. Like he's a dope artist, right? He does dope music, right? Because there are also some artists that feel that in order for them to do really good music, they have to leave Jesus on the back burner and vice versa, right? And the thing what I've been teaching is that the God versus culture mindset is a very legalistic mindset, right? So it's an isolational mindset where you're going to protect everything Jesus and faith and basically reject the world, right? Because James says that pure religion is to keep oneself clean from the world, but not to keep oneself separated from the world, because we are in it. We have to live in this world, right? We have to live in it, and we have to love the lost as Jesus loves us all, right? So how do you balance being the artist and being and honoring Christ and showing people who are looking at you, whether to look at you for criticism or look at you to want to do what you do, right? To show the balance that yes, I pursue my art, I pursue Christ, and I show both and I honor both, right? In a mentality where it's where on the artist side it's well, I'm gonna I've been told, dude. I think I told you this. I've been told, yeah, we're a band, but not a Christian band. But you're all Christians, and you're talking about Christ, and you're talking about heaven, and you're talking about like biblical things, but you don't want to be seen or known as a Christian band, right? So for me, that translates to I'm gonna Jesus, wait right here. I'm gonna go do my thing with the talent and the gift that you gave me, and then I'm come back and we're gonna hang out. I promise. I'm gonna get you your favorite coffee. Right. So how do you balance all of that?
Wow, that was really long-winded. I'll try my best.
Sorry, the pastor came out on the podcast.
Oh yeah. Man, well, so to keep things simple for me, because my identity at the end of the day is Son of God, my Christian identity is the most important thing. I mean, regardless if I'm doing the arts or whatever job I may have, I want to be someone who lives out what I, say I believe. I want to be a man of my word. So, in being an artist, I mean, if I believe and tell people often on the stage, on or off social media that I believe in something, or I believe something is wrong, and then I would hope, because this is a life principle I live by, I would hope that how I live reflects that. So for me, I don't overly concern myself in one sense to how everyone will perceive me. And what I mean by that is I don't get caught up too much in like, oh my gosh, is this going to please people? I mean, I'm just going to, if I feel in my conscience, these are things that don't conflict with biblical values. I'm fine posting or talking about it. Now, there are some topics that, for some Christians or unbelievers, they don't know how to engage in that conversation because like the moral ground, like there's no same plateau. What is it? We're not talking on the same, we're not talking about the same thing. Like, some people might think it's morality when we think we think it's ethics, but people think it's like civil rights, or, there are certain topics that are just, it's just really different how we engage. So, I mean, yeah, I think in at shows or when I'm, in my personal relationships, I try to, you know, level with people, try to understand people and their stories. And a lot of times I just don't speak that much because I've realized that listening and asking questions actually and building that trust over a certain amount of time actually allows you to speak into people's lives if they really allow you to, and that's really God ultimately allowing you to do so. So I don't know, in one sense I really do trust that God will give me opportunities to speak when I need to. Am I always obedient to do so? I mean, no. Thank God he's very gracious to me and people like me. So I don't know, with just the artistry, I don't feel pressure to speak particularly one way because I'm a Christian. My love for Christ and his church will naturally come out in everything I say. And you'll see that my love for people goes further than just like the financial fiscal benefit they can immediately give me. There's just, I don't even have to say the words Jesus, but you'll notice there's something different. And if people want to know more, like, then I will tell them the source of my joy comes from knowing I'm a son of God. Like that's just my lifeblood, so that's just kind of what I abide by. For personally, I don't care about the label. Like, if people call me a Christian musician, that's fine. I mean, I'm chill with that label. I'm a Christian for sure.
What label? What Jay just pointed at me. I don't understand what he was trying to ask me. I can't read lips. But so that Christian label, you say you don't care, right? So that's awesome. I'm gonna straight up, because that seems to be the thing that I'll say personally, it drives me crazy, because it seems in Christian hip hop and Christian CCM and just kind of all the avenues that are kind of Christian business related, I guess. People are so concerned with labels. Don't call me this, call me that. So I think it's awesome. As I was listening to you, so what I'm hearing is this. I'm hearing is that, Jae is the son of God. Period.
Uzuhan.
Right? Uzuhan. Sorry. I'm still.
Love you. No worries.
You know what, man? I don't know how I can deal with this. Uzuhan is a child.
You good.
Is a child.
It's all love, bro.
It's all love. Wait till I see you next time. Uzuhan is a child of God. Period.
Yes.
Everything after that is filtered through son of God. Is that what or child of God? Am I understanding it right? So when you filter it that way, then why do you care what people call you? Because ultimately, right, a label is just a way for someone else to maybe understand who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're Uzuhan, child of God.
Yeah.
And everything should come. Like, it's funny because
I'm listening, because everything listen. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna say this. Bro. Of all the people I've ever heard speak, of all the people we've had conversations with, I'm gonna say this: you, sir, are in my eyes, you're doing it right. You
praise the Lord.
You
Thanks,
have
man.
You have the right understanding of it's God before everything else, and that's your filter. Because ultimately, it's not about, right. It's not about, do you have Jesus raps and non-Jesus raps, or do you put enough Jesus in this one song or versus the other song? It's everything. I like what you say, when you're talking about understanding and maybe touching topics that you're like, unbelievers might not understand this context, or Christians might not understand it. So I'm just not gonna try to weave into those things, but in what I do, you're gonna hopefully you see my love for God, you see my love for people, you see who I am. And that's always been my argument. I mean, since I've been following hip hop, since I've been a Christian, growing up, getting involved in certain aspects of the scene, you know, I've always wondered, it's like, why aren't we supposed to filter our life through Jesus, through who he is, and then you just let the chips fall where they may? And you're the first person in all the years I have followed this that I can think of that has answered it in that way, and that makes my heart happy.
Oh,
you know, time for a little tenderness. That makes my heart happy because I think that's a great example. You're a great example. You're like somebody that we can hold. We can hold up and say, look, this kid's doing it right. This kid understands that it's not about the labels, but it's about how we filter. You filter your business. You filter your content. That's amazing. That's great. You know, if you were here, I'd give you a high five. What were you gonna say, Jay?
I was gonna say that you said that you didn't understand what I was saying because you can't read lips, and yet you spoke about exactly what I wanted you to do.
Because I'm a genius,
right? Because and that's the thing, right? Uzuhan. Sorry, I don't want to get scolded.
No, it's all good.
I don't want to get chastised like Joaquin did. But you know, and that's the thing, right? Okay. Because. And I'm glad you said it that way, and I'm glad you explained it that way, and because, right, that's the thing. We as believers, and this is what we're trying to convey in this series, is that the kingdom, the culture of God's kingdom, right? It goes completely against, right? It's completely contrasted if you put it next to the culture of this world, right? You know, and we don't need labels. We don't need to stand up on a pedestal. We don't need to like put a spotlight on ourselves, right? Because our very lives and everything that we do in our lives and in our walk while we're here on this earth should always convey, and people should very easily see and distinguish the difference in us, which is the fact that we're children of God, which is the fact that every interaction that we have, you know, we show the culture of God, the culture of God's kingdom. You know, we do all things in love, all things with grace, all things with mercy, all these things that God has freely given to the world, whether you believe in him or not, right? That he has shown us and has, you know, redeemed us. And this is what we should also convey and show and give to everyone that we come in contact with, right? So instead of getting caught up with, well, I don't want to be seen as a Christian artist, I just want to be seen as an artist. Dude, just be seen as a child of God, and everything will flow from that, right? Everything will flow easily from that. And the only label that you should really be concerned with is child of God, right? Because if things are filtered or seen through that way, then everything else is easy. Everything else is easy. That's how I feel. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for finally somebody finally saying it and it's not me all antagonistic. You're thinking about it the wrong way.
Right. So now how do you, as an artist that does a lot of traveling, how do you keep yourself accountable when you're on the road?
Dun, dun,
So
I kind of, because we've asked different people, and so we present this question to artists, like, how do you make sure that you don't end up in a compromising position,
in a Joseph position?
Word. I mean, for me, a few things. I mean, if I can, I try not to travel by myself. Usually that's not the case. I'm not that hot of an artist. So like I have to tack on to other people's tours. Like I'm not doing really my own stuff like that yet, maybe. But if I could, I would like to travel with somebody. And the people that I would work with, or people that I trust to go with me on these trips, I mean, they're close friends of mine usually, and are also, believers. So it's, I definitely can't do it by myself. Like maybe like one show I could, but if I were to constantly just like traveling on my own, it would be really tough. So, I mean, it's that I always, also, like, if I can, I try really hard to fly back even Sunday mornings to not, to miss Sunday service. Also, I mean, like, for me, and I mean, Sam and the crew, like, our churches, we have city groups and people in our discipleship groups and all that who we stay in contact with. And we just, like, be like, we'll send out texts and we'll be like, bruh, it's real hard, or we need prayer right now. Like, just staying connected, staying, as our pastor says, like, staying tethered to our network, because we have technology to stay connected still. And also, because I travel in, as a group usually, or have somebody with me, like, making sure that we keep each other like active, like, intentionally asking each other, or just being like, yo, is that wise? You sure you want to do that? Like, just having those, like,
Right.
checks and balances always helps.
You sure you want that extra hot sauce?
Yeah.
I think Joaquin is asking you because, like, he's been dying to
So
jump on with an artist to be their road
So if you need a
pastor.
road pastor, just let me know. I'm available, and I come cheap.
Yeah.
All I need is a bed.
Okay.
And I can sleep on the
All
floor.
right. Oh, man.
He's just trying to, tour with
I
somebody.
just want to ride somebody's coattails. No, that's awesome, man. I'm really glad that you mentioned. I want to be famous because somebody else is famous. That's my
I
goal.
want someone else's shine to reflect on me.
Reflect on me. I just want
Go
some of
ahead.
that. And I'm really glad that you mentioned the church thing and being accountable with, like your small group and with your crew, because one of the things that we've noticed is it seems that a lot of artists, especially Christian artists specifically, right?
Well,
They
it
don't-
has to be specifically Christian
Right.
artists, right? 'Cause
I mean, I guess anyway. I'm not gonna go down that trail.
don't.
So it seems that a lot of artists don't. They're either not plugged in,
or they're not accountable to
or they're not
anyone.
accountable to anyone. So it's always so that's kind of disconcerting, because then that's how you see artists, or you're like, oh man, this dude was really dope, and then all of a sudden, from 1 year to a couple of years later, they're out of being rapping for the Lord or whatever. Now they're like, well, I'm a secular artist, and forget all that. I mean, there's Jahazil, like he just dropped the kid named Kid.
Sure.
They just dropped, and it seems like, that connection is,
Well, with the
is so
exception of
important.
Kid, right? Because, like, I don't know anything about Jahazil, but I know that Kid had people over him. Like, Kid had people over him and pouring into him and, like, trying, to keep him accountable. But, everybody's, you're your
Right.
own person.
But that's the thing, though, right? Like what Uzuhan said is that, he said, I make sure.
Right.
It's
Correct.
the desire comes out of his heart, right?
Yeah.
Did I understand that correctly? So the desire comes out of your heart,
Mhm.
right? Because that's your
Mhm.
that's the spirit saying, look, we need this connection. I think the problem with some. So have you, so if would that be like, so you have a young kid. So let's say that wants to do this music thing, whether singing or rapping or, I don't know, gospel, violin. I don't know what the thing might be. And he
I
came
know what
to you,
gospel violin
and he
is.
came to you, and he was like, "Hey, like, I want to pursue kind of what you're doing." As what would be some advice that you would give
Run.
a young that was simple. And he says, "But I don't like running, so I'm here. What now?"
Okay.
No, but so what? would be
That's what I tell people when they tell me want to be pastors.
Yeah, so,
It's like,
yeah.
no, you don't.
Yeah, no one does.
do
No one in their right mind. So what? Yeah. So what's some advice? What's some of the things that maybe you've learned that, hey, young Christian kid that wants to get into this.
Right. Let me
Yeah.
let me try to make it simpler. 5 things. 5 things that are unchanging. That no matter what happens, these 5 things cannot be like watered down or compromised on.
Cool. So usually, I mean, for one, I don't meet too many young guys or girls who okay, at least Asians, because I'm usually performing in front of Asians, which I would like to get out of. Black, Latino, white markets. I'm available.
Dude, we took you to a Spanish church and you killed it.
Yeah, man. What did I say? I said something in Spanish. It was because of you, Jay. Thank you.
Dude, it was.
I had a little script. Yeah. So I would first celebrate that they feel like. I would get excited. I would encourage them, be like, man, that's great, that's awesome, and I hope you continue to explore that. As you do that, I think what's most important is that you are connected to your church and really internalize and process through your beliefs as a believer, as a Christian. The thing I usually, if they are a Christian young person, I will always say what's unchanging is your faith. So like whatever you put your identity in, like regardless of what you do, I mean, like that character, your character, and your relationship with the Lord and the truths that you stand on, like those are the things that matter the most. Because this music thing, you don't know if it's gonna stay with you. Like, I mean, even for me, after 7 years, I'm super doubtful. At times I'm like, should I keep doing music? This is a good idea. I don't know. So for sure, like your character, the integrity you live by, you work with out of, like those are the things that don't change. So I would stress that. I'd probably ask them like, yo, like, do you serve at your church? Like, do you care about truth? Like, what's your pursuit of truth look like? Blah, blah. I'd ask stuff like that. And then, I think after I would establish that, I would probably be like, well, I would ask like, if God, felt like I was telling you to give up music, like, would you do it? I just keep asking more questions to really solidify identity. Because honestly, like trying to grind it out in music, like you got to be really determined and really feel like God has called you. Because you got to get really creative. If you don't have like an entrepreneurial mind or grit to fail and not have any idea what you're doing, you just have to like sift out the motives sometimes. But then I'll be like, yeah, practice your instrument or your skill a lot, give out your music for free, get a fan base, and then all the practical stuff to like do music.
You said give out your music for free? That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's really dope.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah. I've done that.
Me too. I have no music. Okay. Awesome. So, man, I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you, I'm super encouraged right now.
So you gonna finally put out that album?
I'm finally gonna put out that album. Inspired by Uzuhan.
Uzuhan.
So
you're gonna be Joaquin Chévere.
As we're kind of winding down here, I do need to point something out.
I have one last question for him.
I don't know if it's so much a question. It might just be more of a statement than a question.
I think it could be both.
I need some reaction. I need some answers to.
Uh-oh.
But
then it's a question.
Is it? Who knows? Anyway, the point is this. Uzuhan.
Uh-oh.
As you were doing your Uzutrap. Uzuhan, as I was watching your Uzutrap.
The video.
You you were repping Korea hard. I was like,
heck yeah.
You had I mean, you wrapped yourself in the flag. You had the snacks. I was like, yo.
Yeah.
No wonder you can't get out of the Asian market because you just rapping Korea crazy.
That's right.
It made me laugh because as a Puerto Rican, I could relate because Puerto Ricans are like that. We've got the flags everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, is that just because of the like I think you said earlier, the song was really kind of a
almost like an homage.
An homage, a good word, to kind of your parents, to kind of the immigrant parents that came over.
Yeah.
So is that just kind of you're just like, yeah, Korea in the house.
What?
Yeah, there's actual. I mean, that's kind of like the rebranding in one sense that I am doing. I have made it a point, over the 7 years I've been doing music, like I've been able to really, I feel like God has given me a pretty clear vision as to what, he might want to do with the music and the platform that he's given to me. So for me, like the reason why I rep Korea so hard now and will continue to do so, like I want to become the premier Asian American. Okay, sorry. I want to become the premier Korean American rapper in the world so that with that platform, I can create institutions and legitimize the arts really for people in my context and like allow the people after me to do what I couldn't, or have a platform they could really jump off from, people who are serious about using their craft. Whether they're believers or not, but especially if they're believers, I want to give them the resources, and be that kind of bridge to, for people to jump off. So that's why I rep Korea real hard, because I feel like nobody's repping us hard, that I like their music. Like there are a handful of Korean rappers that rep Korea real hard, and it's cool, but I don't like their music as much. Like I'm fans of their brand. Fans of the brand, and they're getting better. I mean, for me, I'm just making the kind of music that I want to hear because I don't hear as much of it. So it's just all of that. That's why I do Uzuhan.
So is that the reason, the origins, the secret origin of Uzuhan?
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
and ultimately how it contributes to people who are not in my context. I want to explore my roots. I want people like me to explore their roots and get to know the particulars so that we can, or like the particulars of our culture, so that we can contribute towards the greater and actually speak and make some sort of contribution to society at large, American society, culture at large, because like if we know where we come from, if we know what we're about, then we can actually have productive, engaging dialogue with people who are different than us, and I want to see my people rise. So that's why I feel like it's so necessary for me to rep Korea hard, because for me, it doesn't stop with just being proud of being Korean. I'm also American, and there's also like a transcultural world that's taking shape, and that we need to be a part of that as believers. So there's like two missions going on at the same time, I guess.
Awesome.
That sounds,
that's dope.
That's really dope.
Man, you
got a lot of work. You got a lot of work to do.
You just keep winning me over.
Yeah.
And this will be the last question before we let you go.
Dun, dun,
all right.
Word.
And I'm gonna preface it like this.
All right.
When we were watching the video,
Jae
had a single tear run down his eye.
Like,
and I had a look of confusion because we saw DeBaron in that video.
Oh no!
We saw Michael in that video. What we didn't see was Jae.
This guy
and Joaquin.
just thoughts was in that video.
Yeah, just thought. But what we didn't see was Jae and Joaquin in that video.
That's because we old.
So what's up with that, man? Why you throwing shade our way?
So we old.
Not cool. Not cool.
Well, I will say I wanted people who were like artists or creatives. I'm not saying you guys are not. I think you guys are entrepreneurs for sure. I just, no offense. I just wasn't sure if you guys could pull off the dances. That's all.
Oh. Okay. Well, let me tell you something, brother. First of all, so that means you owe me some bulgogi for thinking that I
for the assumption
that I so you owe me some bulgogi for the assumption that I can't dance. And the second thing is, just know that tomorrow when that video goes live, the first thumbs down will be mine.
Oh no. Pero Joaquin.
Much obliged.
Joaquin, he's actually right.
Man, you ain't seen me dance neither.
Yeah, because you can't dance.
I can dance.
Yeah, okay. You can't dance.
I can dance.
You
If
can
I
do.
want to.
You can do the pee-pee
I
dance.
can leave my friends behind. I just want y'all to know.
No, you're so dumb, and I appreciate that because you're right. I don't know those things. I'm not. I sound real old right now. Like I'm looking at Michael, whatever, and I'm like, what the hell is that? What is he doing? It's like his arms look broken.
I was really more mad about the fact that I didn't get to like snack on the snacks.
At least give us the opportunity to say no.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
So all we ask is for you to give us the opportunity to go, oh, let me check my calendar, and we can check our calendar and go, oh yeah, we can't make it.
No, whatever, man. It was a dope video. All right, my question. This is my question.
Right,
my question is.
Final question of the night.
There's a final question on the video. This is also
Okay.
pertaining to the video. Why was little Uzuhan showing up at the bottom of the screen with the Fruit Ninja skills?
wait, say that again.
Why was little Uzuhan popping up at the bottom of the screen with the Fruit Ninja skills?
Oh well, actually, that was really Juan, our director, who put those. I mean, I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of like almost maybe like a anger translator or something. I think it's kind of cool.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I really thought of like the Fruit Ninja commercials for the game, the Fruit Ninja game. I was like, yo, check it out. It's Fruit Ninja.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, yeah. So, Mr. Uzuhan, sorry, I almost said. I'm gonna have to change your name on my phone. Uzuhan.
Ooh.
We're anyway, man. Listen, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry that it was a little later than we had hoped, but
Dude, yeah. I mean, what people, I want people that listen to us to know that we did this interview, we did this call at midnight Eastern time, right? So we thank you,
yes,
Grandmaster Uzuhan,
yeah,
for staying up,
My pleasure.
being patient with us, and staying up with us, and doing this with us. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so for that,
I owe you some more pernil.
yes, man. So for that, I'll forgive the bulgogi, but I still need to have some next time you see me. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, man, as kind of the older guys, around, it was very encouraging for me. And I love your outlook, and it's an encouraging outlook, and I hope, and I'll tell you what, anytime I have a conversation, I'm gonna say, you know what, look at Uzuhan, because this kid's doing it right.
Word up.
Oh man, that's a lot of pressure.
Well,
Word up. Nah,
hey,
man, no pressure.
Hey,
just
you said you want to rep,
just keep it trill.
You want to be the premier Korean American. Well, we're gonna.
You're
we're
right.
gonna-
you're
we're
right.
gonna- We're gonna push you up, brother. We're gonna push you up.
Okay.
So
yeah,
th-
you got
hey,
you
thanks-
got you
thanks
got the
for joining
Puerto
us.
Rican cosign.
That's right. Hey, brother, thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. And give one more
Yeah,
time.
man.
It's, your Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook are all Uzuhan Music.
Music. Yeah. Uzuhan music.
Uzuhan.
All
Music.
right, but hold on before you go. Like, tell people about the video. It drops tomorrow.
Right.
What to expect from the new
Right.
the new you, Uzuhan, and give yourself
Gotcha.
give yourself all the plugs you need right now.
One last plug. Go.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have some local shows in Atlanta happening, so you can follow me on Uzuhan Music on my social media. But so things to look forward to. In addition to the single and music video, I have 3 EPs that are dropping once every month in June, July, and August.
Nice.
So those are going to be fun. In each release, I'm going to have a music video, and I'm just going to have a lot of content coming out these next 4 months. We'll call it Uzu season or something like that. So it's going to be really fun.
So that will be an excellent season.
Yes.
The most excellent
Yes.
season.
I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited to hear all the new stuff. I'm all confused.
All right, so
Yeah, man.
Jay, man, thanks so much for helping us out and being a part of this with us.
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you.
Oh,
we
did you hear that? That was Alexa in the background.
Alexa.
brother. But thanks for joining us, and hey, man, have a great weekend.
Love you, bro.
All right, man. Take care, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
So that was
Yo, Alexa's so rude.
Uzuhan. I don't know if you guys, if that's going to pick up on the podcast, but Alexa, the Amazon Alexa, Amazon Echo, came on really loud. It scared the bejeez out of me. I got scared. I was
Dude, the best thing about the artist formerly known as Jaehan, right, Uzuhan now, is that like him, well, all of them.
Yeah, that whole crew.
They are some of the most genuine, humblest people, right, that we know.
Yes.
Right, like they,
especially for being like rapper artists,
right?
Because
like when they found out,
edge to them.
like when they found out that we've heard of them and we've heard their music before, it was like, what? Are you serious? Really? It's like, yeah, we've been fans for a while. No way. Wow. Thank you. And it's not like, yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. Because, we talk to artists like, yeah, well, you just heard of that song now, but I've been doing this since like the 90s.
Right.
Like, okay, but, I just said, like, dope song, right? Like, when we told them, it was like, wow, thank you. That's so awesome. Thank you. Right? And they're just real, genuine people. And I'm glad that we can.
Yeah,
that we can call them friends.
They're great artists, but they're greater people.
Right. Great Christians.
They're great Christians. They're guys that kind of like even what Uzuhan was saying, on stage, off stage, they're the same cats.
Yeah, they are. Because we've done stuff with them. So
and that's
we've seen that firsthand.
And man, that's like I told them, and if you listen to this, man, his answers, man, just blowing me away. Like I'm like, we're gonna put him. If we ever do a panel, we're putting him on the panel.
Put him on the panel,
and we're gonna have him say that, and then we're gonna look at all the other artists on the front, and be like, now what?
Write that down.
What you gonna do?
Learn.
So,
no, but it's dope.
Like
that's now I'm gonna have to teach Bean, Cal to call him Theo Uzu.
Theo Uzu.
That'll be dope. Theo Uzu.
Uzuhan. I just keep thinking like an anime, like a short anime like video or comic strip with Uzuhan as the hero.
Well, the funny thing is that you say that, but he showed me the artwork for his upcoming projects.
Right.
And you're not that far.
Okay, cool. Because I hear Uzuhan, I think like Samurai Jack or what was the other one?
Samurai Jack is dope.
Kenshin? No, not Kenshin. the Black Samurai. What was his name?
I was gonna say Samurai Jack.
Not Samurai Jack. You know what I'm talking about, right?
With Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, like I keep thinking that too. So
I was gonna say Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack, and
oh no,
and Samurai Jack. No, it's a different samurai. What is the name of that? You looking it up?
I'm trying to
because I'm gonna keep talking until we find it because we cannot end this without knowing.
I want to say Black Samurai, but that's not it, and we're gonna get a lot of hate.
Samurai. What is it? It's not. I hate when this happens. When I just have a great thought and then it fizzles out.
It fizzles. Afro Samurai.
Afro.
What the heck?
So like Samurai Jack or Afro Sam. Every time I say Uzuhan, like those are the kind of images that
makes me think more like Scott Pilgrim.
Eh.
Like Uzuhan versus the world.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Especially his song where he says, I'll do I've got a fist that'll do like the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's a line in the new song. It's
so let's go. So anyway, great conversation. So that's it. That's our third. That's the third episode dealing with God and culture.
Right.
Next week, do we want to say we're gonna have next week?
Yeah. I mean, he's
a friend.
He's Overflow family, right?
He's a friend of the family.
We've mentioned him.
We talk about him constantly.
All the time. We talk about him.
So we're gonna have
our buddy Juice.
Our buddy Juice, aka
Juice,
aka Rasan Shambly.
Right. Evangelist.
He's gonna join
Rashawn.
us. He's more of an evangelist. So so we're gonna have him join us, and that should be a very spirited conversation.
Yeah, he's gonna join us to close out the God culture
culture
conversation with what with what God culture should look like, right? What
Yes.
the culture of the kingdom should look like on an everyday basis,
Yes.
right? So we went through the three different things, and now we're just gonna close it all up, wrap it all up with basically like instruction on how we can always show the culture of God's kingdom on an everyday
Yes.
basis.
And I almost feel like it's not even instruction, but I almost feel like it's more, we're going to close out with kind of bringing it all in, because, I mean, I think every person we've talked to has given us great information and has given us great insight into, you know, these are things to do. These are ways to walk in that. And so it's going to be fun to kind of tie all that in together. So anything else? Is that it? I think we're done.
You know, what we have learned applies to our lives today, and God has a lot to say in his book. No, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us all these,
Episodes.
just all
since
these
the beginning.
episodes, right? And for being a part of the Overflow Podcast.
And as always, this is outcry.com. We will you can find the podcast there. You can find the video to the song. Hey, as always, leave us a comment. Let us know if you like this, if you love us, or if you're indifferent. And with that, I haven't said this in a while. With that being said, we will see you guys next week. This is outcry.com. Also, we are legacyatl.com.
Love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Remember to head on over to thisisoutcry.com for more content. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Stitcher.